Hey, Lara, do you want to turn into a dragon? And I have just the game for you. Hey everyone, welcome to my Tomb Raider Retrospective Part DOS. And today we're going to look at everyone's favourite in the series, Tomb Raider DOS. And yeah, let's find out why it's everyone's favourite by replaying it, shall we?
This game also starts with an intro. We see a battle with a dragon in ancient China and lots of people dying. We then see two monks sealing away a mystical dagger. The dagger of Ixion, or Jian, or however the fuck you pronounce it. An ancient relic that transforms anyone who stabs themselves in the heart with it into a dragon. Finding the dagger is the objective of the game, if that wasn't obvious. But first, let's return to Croft Manor. Yes, the training level is back and Lara has fully moved in and got her manor in order. She's also installed a training course outside, as well as a maze. Because who wants a maze in their garden? Like, seriously. And now her butler Winster is here. And be honest, who didn't lock him in the freezer? On to the main game. Lara arrives in China, and my god, is the first level so much harder than the first level of TR1. Like, why? And why? Fuck. Okay, so how has this game changed from the last? Well, Lara has new moves. She can now climb on climbable surfaces, she can now pivot in the air and underwater, she can now use flares now to illuminate dark areas, and she can now use zip lines. Oh, and secrets are back. But now are a silver, jade and gold dragon statue. Okay, so the first level was in the Great Wall of China, and after the last game, which was inside caves and tombs a lot, suddenly we get to be outside a lot. And everything in this level is fairly still Tomb Raider-esque. There's puzzles, traps, vicious animals, etc. At the end we do find a door with a strange symbol on it, and as we get close, Lara gets assaulted by some guy who appears out of nowhere. The attacker states he works for an Italian Mafia boss who wants a dagger as well, before drinking poison and committing suicide. So Lara googles into this and discovers this Mafia cult operating in Venice. This is so out of place for a Tomb Raider game. From caves and tombs to the city of love and romance. But Lara is still being Lara, climbing over the city, killing tons of Italians and breaking into houses and destroying shit, basically. Also, she gets a boat. Actually, technically, she steals a boat, and then she blows it up. Also, where are the people of this town? The citizens, the tourists, or does now everyone work for the Mafia? So Lara makes her way into Bartoli's hideout where she proceeds to blow it up. Then she makes her way to the Opera House. This is one of the bigger levels of the game. There's usually one big level per location, and the designs of these levels are amazing. In the Opera House, Lara must get onto the roof, explore the flooded basement and go backstage before facing a kind of boss, a double shotgun wielding guy who's like a Mafia boss but lower than Bartoli, and sneaking onto a plane. Here we see some villain backstory. Marco Bartoli is currently searching for something that his father possessed called the Seraph, which is required to get the dagger. Somehow. We don't know yet. Marco believes himself to be the chosen one for the dagger, and that's all we learn as Lara then gets smacked down. Lara then wakes up on some offshore rig, and we have no weapons. Again, this is becoming a habit. The offshore rig is a personal favourite location of mine because it fits with the story. The Seraph we are looking for is in the depths of the sea. However, compared to the tombs and caves and everything in the first game, it's so different. We have alarms, machinery, keycards, and the longest ladder ever, instead of old and historic level design. But it still has its charm. We get a few new enemy types as well, scuba divers with harpoon guns and flamethrowers. Aren't they a lovely bunch? Throwing flames everywhere. Lara also finds a harpoon gun as well, so we can now finally fight underwater. Unfortunately though, she doesn't get her own flamethrower, because the game would be too epic if it did. So eventually we find some guys interrogating a monk, where we get even more backstory. So Markali Bartali's father got the Seraph, as we knew before, which opens up a vault in some treasure in the monks' monastery in Tibet. The monks have been defending the vault for centuries, and are most likely the same monks that we saw in the intro cutscene, at war with the army with the dragon. While transporting the Seraph on a ship called the Maria Dora, the monks attacked Marco Bartali's father and sank the ship, which is why Marco is now using the offshore rig to excavate the ocean below and the sunken ruins of the ship to reclaim the Seraph. Deep breath. The monks explain this while Lara switches outfits to a wetsuit, because shorts and vests isn't perhaps the best clothes for some deep sea diving. Marco then appears and kills the monk, and Lara heads off with a submarine into the underwater levels. The underwater levels, because everyone loves water levels. So we start with Lara in the dark depths of the ocean for 40 fathoms to be precise, running out of air and with several giant sharks around her. And surprise surprise, there's a lot of swimming in these levels. Who could have guessed? So we are now in the wreck of the Maria Dora, which is actually the second level of the underwater section, and one of those long levels which will take days to do the first time round. The ship luckily isn't in too bad condition, aside from a lot of furniture being stuck on the ceiling, and a few keys being stuck in locations, surrounded by hungry marine creatures. Eventually you make your way to the deck of the ship, which, if the ship is upside down, then it must be on the very bottom, where you find a storage room containing the shiny, previously mentioned Seraph. With that in hand, Lara heads off to Tibet. Of course, the plane has to crash, and we have to get stranded in the snow, with eagles, though not as scary as the ones in Far Cry 4, more Italian thugs, snow leopards, and killer snowballs. And in the first level of Tibet, we get to ride another vehicle in the game, the snowmobile. Well, this should be fun. I kid, this thing is horrible. A supermarket trolley steer is better than this. And when you get to make stunts like this, you know you'll be doing a lot of saving in this level. And there's also a snowmobile showdown at the end of the level, right before you fall with it conveniently into a pool of water. That's right by the monastery that the monk earlier belonged to. Coincidence? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have my favourite level in the game, perhaps from the whole series, the Barkham Monastery. This level is so good. It's so good. The monastery is huge and has lots of rooms to explore. So a swimming pool, the roof, a room full of traps, which makes little sense now that I think about it, and a huge Buddha statue. Just the level design in this level is just amazing, especially for a game made in 1997. The goal: to find 5 prayer wheels to access this vault. In addition to this, there's the monks themselves. These friendly AI will actually leave us alone and help us fight Bartoli's men, unless you shoot them. Then, understandably, they'll get angry with you. But whatever happens, by the end of the level, the monastery will probably be full of corpses. After finding all 5 prayer wheels and then placing the seraph, you can enter the catacombs of the Talion. The Talion being the key to the door back in the Great Wall of China. To get up, you must face more giant snowballs of death, yetis, bouncy pads that lead to your doom, and whatever the fuck that is. Back to China we go after some Gran Turismo, putting in the Italian, and we can see our prize. Oh, come on, game. Bloody hell. Where are we now? Well, everyone, we are now in the Temple of Xi'an, and this is the longest, hardest level in the game. It throws everything at you. Lava, giant spiders, trap after trap after trap, hint, save a lot, bouncy pads, and some pretty extreme platforming. And as now we are nearing the dagger, these last levels are themed around dragons, hence the lava. After climbing back up to where the dagger was, we see Bartoli has beaten us to it and stabs himself in the heart before being carried off. And off we follow into the floating islands, and did we ingest some drugs after the struggle of the last level? What the fuck is going on? Why is everything floating? Who are these guys? Who are these guys? Why is there lava on the ceiling? And the biggest question of all, why do these ninjas think they can beat me and my grenade launcher? Boom. We're now in little bits, ninja. We finally enter the Dragon's Lair, where we find Bartoli, and just as we get to him... If you haven't already guessed, the final boss is Bartoli. In dragon form. A big, fire-breathing, motherfucking dragon. How are we supposed to deal with it? Oh, well, actually that wasn't that bad. Now for the dramatic escape. The end. Psych, there's still one more level left. The Epilogue. Home sweet home. After a long adventure and getting into Lyra's bed, Lyra's home is invaded by the remaining members of Bartoli's cult, looking for revenge. And in the case of home invasion... Why is this one of the favourite Tomb Raiders, you know, aside from the nostalgia? I personally don't think it's the best game ever. I'm not sure if it's my favourite in the franchise, but it's definitely up there. It could be my favourite, possibly. My opinion changes like on a daily basis, but I do rank this as one of the best Tomb Raider games. The journey Lara goes on is incredible, from sunny Venice, to icy tombs in Tibet, to the dark temples in China. And I love how the story connects together, like how you travel, like how it keeps on going. For me personally, unlike the first Tomb Raider game, this one is perfectly paced, and is still challenging to this day, and fun to play. There could be improvements though. The accents and the cutscenes make the dialogue kinda...
But it's not quite the same now, is it?
Someday you will get a speeding ticket for that tongue, Fabio.
Hey, it's just a gut feeling that maybe you are...
I hope that's not too racist. The bosses in this game also aren't as good compared to the first game, in my opinion, you know, aside from the dragon itself. But it's possibly, like I said, you know, it's one of the best Tomb Raider games out there, and definitely my favourite out of the original 3.
And how do you beat a game like that? Find out in part 3.